Concerned at the Garville camp this week, but she's been able to take her place. She's joined by fellow Aussie goaler Jennifer Borlase. No problems for this fine mid-court trio of Abbott, Grant and Pearce, and we'll be watching for a strong performance from skipper Michelle Filkey, who seems to thrive on these big occasions. Her partner in the defensive circle, Robin Gill. Melbourne coach Norma Plummer, I'm sure, has been looking for answers to last week's heavy loss to Sydney, but has opted for the same lineup. Southby and Arnott have been retained as the scoring duo. Simone McInnes runs the mid-court from wing defence, and ahead of her, Ingrid Dick and Michelle Bennison. Liz Taverner and Janine Lynch are charged with shutting down the Garville shooters. Well, in their earlier meeting this year, Melbourne defeated Garville by 1 goal, suggesting there's nothing between these two teams. Garville have been rocked by the injury to Natalie Avellino. Melbourne had a poor run-in with a bad game against Sydney last week. And, Sergeant, there are some variables here that make it a hard one to call.
Yes, there are, and I think the one of the most interest is Natalie Avellino's fitness. I think she really is a crucial ingredient in the way Garville run. I mean, there's such fluency between both Borlase and Avellino, such understanding that, and they really rely on that top 7 so much that I think it will really affect them greatly if she's not able to see out the match. I heard throughout the week that they really thought they might only get 1 match out of her and that they'd leave it to the last to decide which one they'd feature her. Well, they're obviously going with confidence and they're hoping all will be well. As far as Melbourne is concerned, look, they've had a great series. They've really lifted the hopes in Victoria that they're out of a slump, which they've been in the last couple of years. And I think you've got to give them full credit for how they've performed. I tend to think, though, big game, Garville, a very intact lineup. If Natalie Avellino can hold, I think Garville will find their way into the finals.
Garville in the red and grey, as always, and Melbourne in the blue. And Jenny Borlase put up the first shot. If she runs true to her shooting statistics throughout the series, she won't make too many misses from that range. And she's a strong rebounder. But I guess it's Avellino will be watching more intently through the first 15 minutes to see how her ankle holds up. As we heard last weekend, she could be out for 3 or 4 weeks, but here she is.
Well, the original diagnosis, my gossip from South Australia, was something like 46 weeks with quite a serious problem, but she's been responding really well to treatment, obviously. And as to how long she'll last, we'll see.
Goodness, Arnott. Oh, Filkey. It was her ball all the way. Got out of the hands, really, of Bennison.
And already quite a contrast, the 2 semi-finals. This one opening up with far more firepower and more speed.
Grant. Tough ball for Abbott. Bennison. Lots of space in the centre third as it's end-to-end stuff. Almost too quick for the players.
That last one a little too easy on to Eloise Southby. Beautiful movement down court from Melbourne. The speed there from Ingrid Dick and from Michelle Bennison. Southby to finish.
McInnes, meanwhile, has taken an intercept. She had a pretty quiet game last up against Sydney. As Arnott. Now Southby. Pat Micken on the far right. Was Nat her assistant with her, and Judy Uren.
This is a Melbourne that's been fired up, so I think they've done a bit of work during the week. Speed again on the hands for Melbourne. The offload to Danny Arnott, who steadies to finish.
Oh, Filkey came out.
Arnott doing well to free herself from Filkey's challenge and offload.
Once Filkey had missed, it was all Melbourne.
Well, the challenge comes from Filkey. If you watch now, she's overcommitted. Arnott knows it's to their advantage. They had the numbers.
Arnott.
And again, Filkey collecting the arm of Arnott's shot. A couple of times she's been slapping at the arm.
Danny Grant. Ball lays to Avellino. Oh, taken by Liz Taverner. Lynch, Bennison, Melbourne looking good. Arnott, to stretch for it, has to get the shot away reasonably quickly. Great finish. Melbourne looking good.
And it swung quickly from Avellino. It's really forced because Borlase didn't have position. Taverner doing well to keep it in play.
Bright first quarter from the Melbourne Pumas. They're looking for a 4-goal lead here with 6 minutes left first quarter.
Again, Benison with the patience and the timing.
Pat Micken on the right. Garville coach with a few problems. Body language suggesting it.
I think that's as close as we've seen Pat Micken come to looking anxious. She's normally as cool as they come. But just the way she leant out of that, indicating it's not the start she'd want.
Well, I think McInnes, Lynch and Taverner all having great games in defence. Southby and Arnott moving better and the scoring end.
Well, I guess they can draw confidence from the fact that they know they can beat Garville. Garville weren't able to come at them in the rounds. And, you know, the loss last week, yes, it wasn't desirable, but they were nowhere near their best. One thing to lose at your best, it's another to know you've got a lot more to give. Well, quite a few opportunities being given with the penalties against Michelle Filkey.
Well, in recent weeks, we've been admiring the body discipline, if you like, of Garville. They've been giving away a few penalties. But perhaps the desperation of semi-final netball making them a little looser.
Danny Grant just cautioning the team to settle and keep it cool.
Avellino.
Oh,
sweet shot.
Well, this is no fuss, Avellino.
Southby. Well-placed ball for Arnott. Gill's challenge. Not fair, says Maureen Boyle.
11 penalties called against Garville, most of them against both Gill and Filkey, so really drawing attention in the defensive circle.
McInnes takes the direct route, top of the circle, and now Arnott. Her captain will be pleased with that finish. In their first meeting this year, Garville led by 1 at quarter time, 13-12. That might be quite a different story in a minute and a half from now.
It's a long way to go, but you'd have to think Syd Electricity just come off the back of their win in their semi-final, knowing that they wiped Melbourne last week. They're probably feeling fairly comfortable.
I think Garville have got something they haven't found yet and will be hoping to use in the next 3 quarters. They're a better side than this. Garville beat Sydney. Sydney thrashed Melbourne. I mean, all those roundabout results don't mean much on the day. These top 4 sides, anyone could beat the other.
I think you said it's most important is that Garville playing nowhere near their ability. Absolutely no rhythm, no timing on court.
Oh, nice little turnaround from Avellino.
Well,
not too much wrong with those ankles.
No, they're beautiful, and that's great individual work. Garville just need to string it together as a team. And I think you're right, both ankles working pretty well then. We've certainly got rotation checked.
Borlase. Yes, thank you.
Borlase not found her timing yet. So I think more to come from Garville.
Melbourne to get a wriggle on here with the last few seconds of the first quarter. They'd like to get the lead back out to 4. Arnott.
Danny Arnott had some room she could have made then, but she chose just to take the far shot.
Filkey's possession.
Better ball, better timing now from Garville. They had options then and they chose the better ones.
Now, although the timekeeper's up, is this a penalty? It is, and Avellino will get the shot. And morale-boosting finish to the first quarter with Garville. They were looking at a 5-goal deficit. They got it back to 2, so at quarter time, Melbourne lead Adelaide Garville, 16-14. Garville set Danny Grant looks to get her team going forward. Start of the second quarter, and ankles Avellino didn't have a bad first quarter.
No, she was a little slow to get started in goals, but once she started, whoa, 8 from 8, 100%. So she's one of the standouts. Borlase below her best, 6 from 9, 66%. She's been one of the most accurate in the series, and that's well down for her. for Melbourne, 5 from 5 for Eloise Southby. Very steady start for her, 100%. And 11 from 16 from Danny Arnott. Only 68%, but as you can see, the most on the board.
Goal attack viewers, don't forget, later tonight, 10 o'clock in most states. Check your local guides for telecast times. We have the final of the Mobile League from 95. Sydney Electricity to play the winner of this match. Adelino. Always.
Danger time for Melbourne.
Pretty composed side, Garville. Won't be phased by a few things going wrong in the first quarter. Chipped away to only trail by 2.
And this could well equalise. I was watching Pat Micken in the break. She had a lot of talk with both Michelle Fulke and Robin Gill, their 2 circle defenders, about discussing penalties and containing Eloise Southby and Danny Arnott.
Goal defender, pass or shot.
Little push from Gill, so Arnott the shot.
Danny Arnott, balanced shot.
Goal attack, Melbourne penalty, beside. Goal third.
Melbourne have possession. Big. Southby making the moves on Fulke.
Contact, pass or shot.
Southby making the moves and Fulke matching them.
She's got eyes in the back of the head, the Australian. It's pretty hard to shake.
Adelaide off the shooter.
Well, Arnott thought Melbourne had possession there. Mr. Adams had other ideas.
Still under pressure, but she gathers well and finds Avellino. Beautiful ball from Avellino across court to Grant.
And the Garville shooters split in different directions there, made it a nightmare for the defenders. Now Borlase.
She's not having a comfortable game in goals. The rhythm not there. That one through.
Borlase didn't have such a great game against Sydney Cenovis in their last round game either. When for the first 6 matches she'd been in fantastic form. Nevertheless, she's still averaging 85% for the series and makes her the most accurate of the competition. Not quite the volume of Joe Morgan, but slightly better accuracy. Melbourne by 2. 3 and a bit minutes gone.
It's
Second quarter.
always difficult with the top shooters. You tend to notice the misses more than anything else because they're so rare. And I was almost going to tack onto my comment that many people would crave to be able to play anywhere near her when she's not at her best, let alone when she's firing. It's just that you tend to notice when the rhythm isn't there and the timing's not quite sweet for her.
The thing with the match against Sydney Cenovis was that Liz Ellis was back after being missing for a couple of games, and she had a good match.
Had a lot to play for.
Danny Arnott there, sweet when they go in. Arnott averaging 71% for the series and Eloise Southby 79.
Contact, Melbourne.
Disputed possession, and Benison has it. Southby just crawls in for a 4-goal lead now. Well, their first encounter really was a difficult one to read. 1 goal the difference in the end, and it was never more than 1 or 2 through the 3 breaks. Dragged in by Lynch.
Avellino testing the ankle out then, but she's a little slow on the dodge, and Grant not able to read it, causing the error.
Fulke copied Lynch's intercept at the opposite end. Avellino. Comfortable rebound for Taverner. McInnes, Benison, and they come to Southby.
Yeah, just a step from Ingrid Dick into the circle as she made her way around to the corner.
Circle, please, keeper, offside. Thank you.
turnover for Garville as Arnott shoots over Filkey and does it well. Benison and Southby have to admire the way Melbourne have managed to recompose themselves in a week after what must have been a confidence-knocking outing against Sydney Electricity.
Absolutely, and they've just had a sensational series. I mean, Melbourne really have been discounted by people across the last couple of seasons because they just haven't been able to produce, irrespective of the club entry. Of course, Melbourne Waverley Pumas, a different club entry this year, but they've really brought a new lease of life to Victorian netball, and you know, you can't praise them enough. Norma Plummer and the girls for the netball they've produced.
Last year it was Tears.
And this, of course, a very young side, and you would have to think will form the basis of Victoria's state team later in the year for nationals.
Advantage break, goal attack.
6.5 minutes gone. Second quarter.
Offside, centre.
Melbourne are looking for an 8-goal lead here.
Oh, Southby giving Filkey a run for money, but it goes to Filkey. It's really not a stat you could predict, this margin at this stage in the game.
No, be brave to do so unless you thought Avellino was going to be off, but she's not. She's out there playing quite well. The problems are elsewhere.
I think the workload's a little down, and I think there's sometimes she hasn't gone on with the run or put the speed down when we're used to seeing it, but you certainly have to say the ball skills and the contribution in goals is fine.
Yes, as is that offload to Borlase. Borlase asking for more.
This is Borlase. Watch the work she's putting in to get her. Signal the screen there. She held up Taverner, gave Avellino the run. Borlase holding space and then has good position to finish with the shot. I'd really think too, given that the shooting is being shared evenly between Southby and Arnott, I'd swing Filkey up the front and let her dictate things through the midcourt. That's probably a priority for Garville. You'd then have her down on the line, dictating terms in attack and steadying the side.
Avellino. Vicky Wilson with Wilma Shakespeare, former Australian coach. She's up in Queensland with their
Queensland Academy
of Sport, yeah.
Pass or shot?
Now one of the most outstanding administrators in Australian sport, so she really is a versatile person in Australian sport, from player to coaching, administration. I don't even have to say that to get a game anymore.
Benison.
Speaking of which, I know our viewers didn't see it, but there was a great game on here at the State Sports Centre between some of the former Australian players and various current Australian reps from different codes, union, basketball,
Baseball.
And didn't the girls do well? Eloise Southby, steady as a rock. And while they were doing hard work, I have to send a cheerio to Monica Kraftcheck in South Australia, an old roomie of mine, who was doing her own bit of work, produced a beautiful baby girl, I believe, today.
As did
Little Madison.
As did Rob De Castella and Galen Cruz.
They've all been busy.
Yeah.
Well, Mon, I approve of the name. It's out of the Annie Book of Names again.
Southby. 5 the lead for Melbourne. 1.5 out from the long break. Make it 6.
I just have a feeling Garville, if they make a couple of changes and really draw their breath, could really run down Melbourne. But we've got a good half a game to watch that, and Melbourne are doing the work so far. Eyes on a place in the final.
Southby rings out. Unlucky. Melbourne's ball, though.
Play. Contact, Melbourne.
Danny Grant acknowledging the contact with a wave of the hand. Contact is advanced into the circle. Gill out of play. Adding to a woeful penalty count against Garfield. It's now hit 20 and is running off our page. It's normally goals that do that, Jen, isn't it?
So inside the last 40 seconds. As Borlase misses rather badly for her.
That's another positional switch that you might well see come out of the Garville half-time bench. Perhaps bring Borlase forward and see if they can involve her a little more.
Well, Borlase and Avellino did swap in the corresponding match in the rounds at half-time.
They switch so much, it's hard for us to remember who's where. In fact, they've been amazingly restrained.
Well, it's Melbourne who are making the little run. Well, they won't get to make an 8-goal lead, but 7 looks pretty handy for Melbourne Pumas. They've had a very solid first half. And